So I've started working on a game where you play as a wizard. The game's going to be in a top-down scenario where you're going to be fighting enemies while going through rooms, almost like in The Binding of Isaac. But for I've only been working on it for about a week, so I'm still in very early prototype stage. But there were two topics I wanted to talk about in regards to the game: the state machine that I use to create enemy behaviors, and the procedural generation of rooms that I'm currently working on. Now, when I first started looking at solutions for enemy I came across behavior trees first. But sadly, most of those that I found on the Unity Asset Store cost money, and the ones that didn't cost money were light versions or free demos of paid behavior trees. So I looked to other solutions, and that's when I came across state machines. Put simply, a state machine is an object that tells an entity what it should be doing and when it should change what it's doing. It's like if you planted a tree and that tree was in the state of being a sapling, so a small little plant, and the only thing that plant should be doing is growing. It's weak, it's vulnerable, and just let it grow. And after so long of growing, it's grown in size, it's a big tree now. So now it's in its tree state. And instead of growing, it also now produces fruit. So it went from being a sapling that grows to a tree that grows fruit. A state machine can be used to control these in a video game. And this idea extends to hostiles as well. I can have an enemy that's in a passive state, but once he sees a player, he now is in an aggressive state and will attack and charge at the player. While in his passive state, he'll stay back and wander around. This was the idea behind the state machine that I picked up from Jason Wyman. He has an online tutorial about it on YouTube for free. You can check it out and just use the same state machine I'm using for my game. And I ended up creating a little skeleton guy with it. The art is from Joel Baltieri. I hope I said that right. He has a bunch of assets on the Unity Asset Store. This one was a free little demo that I got from him. Praise him and all who make free assets. Now, this little guy, all he does is he wanders around, and then when the player comes close enough to him, he gains a burst of speed and chases after the player. And after closing the distance, he does a leap forward and tries to hit the player. If he does manage to catch you, he deletes you from this plane of existence. But if you do dodge him, he'll be open to being attacked with your blue balls. Right now, all this takes place in a small 8x8 room. There are 8 tiles in one direction, 8 tiles in another direction, and it's all filled in the middle. This area, the player and the enemies can run around in it, and there is one spawner placed around. The spawners are marked by this little gravestone I cooked up in Blender real quick. Skeletons pour out of it, and as you kill the skeletons, it produces more skeletons. The randomness of the room generation comes from the fact that the tile set that I got off the Unity Assets Store has 3 variations of floors and 3 variations of walls. And these are randomly decided on in the generation algorithm. The tile set was made by Catborg Studio. I like it. It looks cool and it comes with a bunch of furniture that I want to implement into the game as a core mechanic. As of right now, there's nothing else inside the room besides a little graveyard that spawns skeletons. Each of these graveyards spawn a single skeleton. Once that skeleton dies, it spawns another one, and it can only do this 3 times. After you kill the 3rd skeleton, the room is supposed to regenerate, place new tiles, and place a new spawner. But that's not exactly what happens. I do plan on making another development log next week, and I want to set some goals to reach before then. I want to fix the random generation bug where the room just regenerates infinitely and produces a ton of spawners. Then I want to implement furniture into the random generation. I'm going to be using the models from the Catborg low poly dungeon pack that I've been using for the tile walls and the tile floors. If I find myself having extra time during the week, I will implement sounds into my game, such as whooshing for the magic balls that you throw at your enemy, and maybe hit noises for the skeleton. If you are as excited for the development of this game as I am, you can subscribe and be notified when I do post the next development video. You could also follow any of the social media websites I have listed in the description to keep more recent updates on my development progress. I hope you'll join me on this journey. Either way, I hope to see y'all again.